Hey, what's up, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of A Sit Down with me, Shaughnessy. So if you clicked on this video, it's because you are trying to find your purpose. This channel is literally all about that. It's about living a life that you want to live, and what better way to start by identifying your purpose. Let's talk about what purpose is first off. Purpose is the reason why you were created. And I am a firm believer that everybody was created on purpose for a purpose. You, me, anybody who literally is living right now was created to solve a problem and to do something that only they can do. The issue is that so many people get distracted. They get caught up in a job. They get caught up in different relationships or things that distract them from their purpose. If you feel like, okay, I have been distracted, I have went down the wrong path, it's never too late to get back on the track of purpose. If you had already fulfilled your purpose, you literally wouldn't be here anymore. So you still have time to get back on track. And so today we're not only going to talk about steps to help you identify your purpose, but we're also going to talk about ways to prep for your purpose. So prepping for your purpose is probably not the easiest thing, but I'm telling you, it's going to pay off. When I first started pursuing my purpose after college, it was because I was literally in a state of complete depression. I got my degree, but I was empty, and I was going to school because I was trying to please people. I was checking off boxes and doing what I thought was right, but the major that I went into was not giving me fulfillment. It didn't really add to me, and I just felt lost. I didn't really know who I was. And in that identity crisis, in that blank slate of not knowing who I was, that's when I began to start finding my purpose. The first thing that I realized that happened in pursuing my purpose was that I began to get rid of toxic relationships, whether I liked it or not. Friends, family members literally started to disconnect themselves from me. And that's the first way to prep for your purpose, is to get rid of toxic relationships. The next thing that you need to do is let go of unforgiveness. So many times we are angry, not just at other people, but at ourselves, thinking that you were supposed to do something, supposed to be something, being so hard on yourself that you don't even believe that you deserve a life of purposefulness. You have to forgive yourself for the mistakes that you made, and just know that you're human, and know that it's always okay to try and get up and try again. You also have to forgive those who have hurt you, who have caused you pain, who have spoke negative things into your life, who have talked about you, who have said you would be nothing, who didn't believe in you, people who were supposed to play major roles in your life but missed it, but didn't do it right. You have to let go of that so that you can move forward. Literally, having unforgiveness is like being tethered to a wall. You cannot move forward. And if you're trying to live a purposeful life, you have to literally be free to move and to grow. And if you're holding on to unforgiveness, you're literally stuck in the past, and you're stuck and shackled to that hurt. You have to learn how to let that go. The way I let that go was through prayer, fasting, meditation, and just constantly giving myself time to just grow and to let that pain go. With unforgiveness comes my next point, bitterness. You know you're bitter if you're walking into a room and you see somebody who you don't forgive or you're angry with, and they literally shift your mood. If somebody has the ability to walk into a room and shift your mood, you're still holding on to bitterness. You literally have to let that go in order to move forward. The next thing is blaming other people. What happened to you doesn't define who you're going to be. You have to stop blaming people. You have to stop making excuses for why you're not where you are, and you have to literally get up, move forward, and progress no matter what the circumstances are, no matter what somebody did to you, no matter what happened to you. You have to get up. You owe it to yourself. You owe it to God. You owe it to this world to literally walk in your purpose no matter what. The next thing that we're going to do is talk about tips to help you find your purpose. So my first tip for finding your purpose is to surround yourself with people who see greatness in you. There's a story in Know Your Why where the author Ken Costa is talking about in the Bible how Jesus ran into Simon. He was like, I already know you. Your name is Simon. He was like, but I'm going to call you Peter. And can you imagine somebody like, oh, I already know you, like your name is Shaughnessy, but I'm gonna call you, Lisa. And you're like, what? But Jesus already knew who Simon was. Peter translates to rock. So Jesus called Simon Peter now because he knew who he was going to be in the future. He was going to be a rock. He was going to be one of the first people to start the church. He was going to be one of the main people who was by Jesus' side. And so he called him Peter, even when he was Simon. And the author goes in to say that Simon wasn't a rock at all at the time. He was really scatterbrained. He was all over the place. He didn't know who he was at all. But Jesus did, and he called him rock. He called him Peter, even when he was Simon. And so it took years for him to come into, what his name was. It took a lot of processing. It took a lot of trials. It took a lot of ups and downs, failures, successes, pain, going through so much for him to earn his name that God gave him. But it still doesn't mean that he wasn't that. And so you need to surround yourself with people who call you, great, who call you who you are. If you're going to school to be a doctor, who call you doctor before you're even a doctor. If you're going, you want to be a lawyer, who call you lawyer before you're even a lawyer. You need those people who believe in you when you don't believe in yourself. The next thing is to find purpose in each and every day. It can be as small as just checking off a goal off of your list. It can be as small as just volunteering in your day. But you have to find small things that add purpose to your day, because in each day, if you have a piece of purpose in each day, then every day is going to add up to your ultimate reason for being here. You're going to keep identifying new things and learning new things about yourself, but you have to find purpose in each and every day. Don't just live a day to go to work and go to sleep. Don't just live a day, to take care of your kids, or don't just live a day just to go to school. Find more inspiration in your day that will help you lead to finding purpose in each and every day. My last and final point is building a relationship with God. This book that I'm reading, Know Your Why, it's such a great and amazing book. So in the first chapter, I'm learning about a story in the book of John in the Bible. And so the first word that Jesus said in John was, "What do you want?" So let me just tell you the background of the story. So Jesus was walking past the disciples. The disciples were with John, right? John the Baptist. So basically, John the Baptist was a dude who baptized people. He talked about the Messiah coming, and he really inspired people. He was like a life coach, a life guru back in that day. And people would come to him for prayer, for baptism, and to learn more about God and about, the coming Messiah. But nobody's seen the Messiah at the time. Nobody knew who the Messiah was. And so John knew, and when Jesus stepped on the scene, he met Jesus or whatever. And so John was sitting with the disciples, the soon-to-be disciples. Jesus walks past, and John's like, oh, there's a Messiah right there. And so the disciples look, they get up, and they start to follow behind Jesus. Jesus turns around like, what do you want? And the disciples, they get like flabbergasted. They're like, so where are you staying? Where are you staying right now? And Jesus is like, you can come and see. And so the author of this book breaks that encounter down so vividly. It's not that Jesus was asking them really like, what do you want? Or like, why are you following me? He was asking them, what do you want out of life? What do you want in this world? What do you want? And they were so hit by that question that they stumbled and said, where are you staying? But they didn't mean, where are you staying? Like, as in, where are you living? They were literally saying, like, we don't know, but we want to follow you. We want to, follow behind you and get to know you in hopes that you'll be able to show us, because if you really are the Messiah, if you really are the Savior of this earth, then nobody else would know what we want but you. And so Jesus recognized that in that answer, and so he said, come and see. That was an invitation for them to come and see and find out the life that he had for them, to find out the love and the purpose that Jesus had for them. And the author points out that they didn't have to do much. All they had to do was get up and walk behind Jesus. Jesus already interrupted their life. He walked into their situation. They were already in the middle of talking to John. Jesus interrupted their flow, and all they had to do was get up and follow him, and Jesus did the rest. And so it was just so amazing to me, because that's the same with us. We don't have to do much to find our purpose. The biggest thing that we have to do is to get up and decide to follow God and follow Christ when the opportunity is given to us. And if you're watching this video, I believe that this is an opportunity for you to decide to follow Christ. And the thing is, when you begin to follow Christ, you begin to find out who you are. And it's not something that happens overnight. It's a processing. It's going through the process. It's going through, the ups and downs. If you know anything about the Bible or the disciples, they went through hell with Jesus. They had to, they had some great moments, but they traveled with him. They were with him, even when he went to die. Some of them left them, some of them forsake them, they couldn't be with him in his death, but they were there. And a lot of them continued on in their purpose even when Jesus went on to heaven. And so the crazy thing is, throughout that process that they walked with Jesus, throughout that time, they learned more about themselves. They learned more about who they were created to be. They got stronger. They got more empowered. They started to see their gifts and their talents. They started to learn how to serve others. They started to learn how to give. They watched how Jesus gave. They watched how Jesus loved. They watched how Jesus walked, how he carried himself, how he believed in himself. They watched all these things, and through watching him, they became who they were called to be. And so that is the key to finding your purpose, is to having that relationship, that communication, to get up and to follow after Jesus like you never done before. And in that, and doing that and following him, and also in finding who you are and questioning who you are, asking yourself what you love to do, what your passions are, what your desires are, in reading books and reading the Bible, and reading more and learning more about yourself, and growing, and stretching your mind, and getting rid of the things that are not, positive and not like God around you. That's when you're going to start to find your purpose. That's when you're going to start to find who you're created to be. Take your time with this thing. It's a lifelong journey. But I promise you, man, as you start to actively follow after God, you are not going to be sorry. And so those are my final tips, you guys, for how to find your purpose. I really hope that they helped you. Just remember that it's all in your process. Begin to self-search. Begin to find out who you are. And most importantly, chase after God like never before, because you will find the answers in him. And so I'm excited. I challenge you guys to start pulling out your journals, journaling about yourself. What do you want? What do you like to do? What does your dream life look like? My second challenge is for you to start talking to God for 5 minutes a day. Put it on your phone, time yourself, and I guarantee you're going to see a change in your life. So I want to thank you guys for watching another episode of A Sit Down with me, Shaughnessy. Make sure you click that notification bell, and subscribe to my channel. I will see you guys in my next video.